Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tejas Patel. I'm a registered migration agent here, based here in Adelaide, South Australia. So this video is part of our weekly sessions of Ask Aussizz. So you can ask different questions about your migration situation, and I can try to answer you as much as I can. Please note that this is a general advice. It's not specific to a particular case in detail. So it can be different when you would have different circumstances around your application or around your profiles, including age, qualifications, English, experience, skilled partner, other points such as NATI and a lot of things. But I'll try to be helpful as much as I can. So if you have any questions, you can answer. You can put your questions into the comment section, and one of our social media team member will post those questions to me, so I can try to answer them. I'll try to wait for some more people to join before I can start taking those questions and answers. But before I do that, I'll just cover up some quick updates which has been released by Department of Home Affairs in last some days. So this week we have an update about changes of the English requirements. So the English requirement has been changed for the graduate visa as well as the student visa. I'll share that news in detail very shortly. But people who have been joining recently or who have joined now, my name is Tejas Patel. I'm a registered migration agent here based in South Australia, Adelaide. So if you have any questions, make sure you do elaborate your question as much as you can and put that into the comment section, so we can try to answer your question as part of our weekly series of Ask Aussizz. One of the key changes we have had been announced by the department this week is the changes in the English requirements for the student visa as well as the graduate visa. So the requirements have changed by 0.5 bands. So the student visa have been changed to 6 bands from previously the 5.5 bands in IELTS. And then the people who are packaging with the ALICOs, they will be changing from 4.5 bands to the 5 bands. Now, this change is primarily going to impact certain students only, but it is a blanket change. So it is case-to-case basis where you're studying, what's your country of passport as well. So depending on assessment levels of your institutions and your applications, your requirements will be differing case-to-case basis. But in general, the student visa is now required to have 6 bands in IELTS, equivalent in other examinations like PTE or OET or Cambridge, for you to apply for a student visa. The other change has been also announced is the graduate visa requirements. So the changes in the graduate visa is also coming into effect from tomorrow, 23rd of March. So in general, the applicant who is applying for a graduate visa from tomorrow onwards will be required to meet the new requirements of overall 6.5 bands in IELTS or equivalent in PTE or other examination, no less than 5.5. So previous requirement was overall 6, no less than 5. Now it's changed to overall 6.5, no less than 5.5. Now the biggest change in this English requirement for the graduates is the validity of the test. It's very unfortunate to see the validity has been decreased from 3 years to 1 year only for the graduate visa applications. So if your IELTS or PTE or any other English examination was done more than 12 months old, then you cannot use that particular exam results to apply for your graduate visa. The validity needs to be under 12 months. So you need to redo the test if you're planning to apply for your graduate visa in near time, because the changes are coming in effect from tomorrow onwards, the 23rd of March onwards. This impact is going to be massive for the new graduates who will be graduating in June, because a lot of students who come to do masters, they already have their English overseas before they came to do a masters. And because previously the English was acceptable for up to 3 years for the migration purposes, they didn't have to do the English again, IELTS or PT, since they already had done in the student visa application when they came to do the masters. But now, because of these changes, they will have to do the IELTS or PT again before they apply for the graduate visas. So that's one of the big changes announced this week. The other changes are also around the GST, which is Genuine Student Test. So before So from tomorrow onwards, the new requirements are also coming into effect for a student visa application under the GT changes. So until now, until today, you're required to meet a GT requirements, which is genuine temporary entrant. So any applicant who is applying for a student visa will normally required to demonstrate that they are a genuine student who are coming to Australia or who are applying for a student visa for a short period of time, and they are a genuine temporary entrant. So after finishing the studies, more likely they will go back to their home country and they will use the skills they actually got it from Australia. So tomorrow onwards, the requirements are changing to a genuine student test. So they're removing the SOP, the statement of purpose requirements of 300 words, now to more specific questions-based assessments. So when we apply for a student visa, there will be a list of questions according to your profile, which you need to answer. And depending on that, will be announced, they will be assessing your applications, whether you'll get the visa as an approved, or they will likely to refuse a visa because you might have a longer gap in your studies, or the course you have proposed is not really the right course as well. So that change is also coming into the effect from tomorrow onwards. So apparently the ME account for the Department of Home Affairs online lodgement system is going under the maintenance tonight, as in the evening. So all these changes will come into the effect and will become live from tomorrow onwards. So if you're planning to apply for a student visa or a graduate visa, from tomorrow you'll need to meet these new requirements. So if you have any questions regarding the student visa or the graduate visa changes, you are also more than welcome to put those questions in the comment sections. The other updates are also about the state nominations. So far, Victoria and South Australia has been conducting the rounds and the invitations and all those kind of things. W has not been open. Obviously, they have already reached to their allocations for this financial year. So they're not going to invite any more applicants for this rest of the financial year. So the next update will be in July for all these states where the state nominations are not an option anymore. All these changes around the state nomination was purely happened because of the lower allocation received by them from the Department of Home Affairs. Most of them were anticipating that they will be having equivalent amount of nominations which they had the previous financial year. So they planned the migration program according to that, but then the surprise came when department reduced the overall numbers drastically by 70%. So all the states had to readjust their allocations and readjust their programs depending on the occupations, depending on the requirements. So that's why certain states have reached to their allocations earlier. They are not open right now, but then there will be more updates regarding the state nomination in month of June or July. As part of the broader migration strategy, we can expect some changes in the skill migration as well as the employer-sponsored visas. So there will be more updates regarding to that. So keep watching our social medias if you want to have some updates regarding state nominations, regarding employer-sponsored. Another thing I also want to cover up is we are doing a parent visa seminar, which is a webinar actually, later next month. So if you are a permanent resident or citizen and you would like to apply for a permanent visa for your parent, then you should attend this webinar. Obviously, not many citizens or PR would be watching this video, but if you have any friends or family member who might be meeting those requirements, then they can attend this webinar to get some information about what visa is right for their parents, to make sure that they reunite with the parents in Australia. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to post those questions on the comment section. I'm happy to answer those questions right now, Tanu, if you want to start lining up the questions. All right, so I've got the first question is coming from Shahriar. I've completed Bachelor in English department on January 23, GPA 3.53. Now I have 1 year experience as a teacher. Can I apply for Masters of Education? You can, so it depends on what's your major. Obviously, you've done Bachelor of English, but then what kind of major you want to do Masters in Education. So you can probably do a Masters of TESOL, Master of Education in TESOL specialized area, if you want to study in Australia. So that could be something where in general, if you study that course in Adelaide, let's say, after finishing the studies, you can apply for your graduate visa. And after getting a graduate visa, you need to have 1 year of experience as a TESOL teacher to apply for your permanent visa. So it can be a good pathway, but yes, definitely you can apply for Master of Education, specialized in certain areas. Tathira is asking, I'm a student studying Masters in Information Technology in Torrance. I have skill assessment for web developer. What are my chances for 491 visa classes? Um, Tathira, it depends on where you are studying right now or where you are working in general. So let's say if you're based in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, where the Torrance has the campuses. Um, South Australia, in the current requirement is you need to have 6 months of experience, 30 hours a week. So you're not eligible right now, but then once you finish your masters, you can go on a graduate visa, get a job as a web developer for minimum 30 hours a week, and after finishing 6 months of experience, that can make you eligible for the visa 491. So you have a good chances to apply the 491. The primary requirement is the job. So any state nomination or any skill migration program will require an employment. It's all about employment. So as long as you have an employment, you will have a pathway towards some kind of visas, either it being a state nomination or an employer-sponsored visa. So it's all starts with the job. So you try to get a job which is at least full time, 30 hours plus a week. That can get you the state nomination options. Um, Nitesh is asking, do I expect another invitation round for 189 chemical engineer with 85 points? Very honestly, Nitesh, I think even if there is another invitation round, I don't see them inviting a lot of engineers or other occupations. What I've seen in last few rounds and the trend what department might be following is they are managing the 189 for only the very, very high demand list, such as teachers, nurses, and other medical occupations. The other medium level demanding occupations, such as engineers, IT, and others, are being managed through state sponsorship. So I guess the department has given that job or authority to the states to decide their own occupation list, obviously, but that also depends on the occupation where they would not be inviting under the 189. So that's what I've seen from the recent trend. So I don't see the engineers being invited for 189, at least for this financial year. I could be wrong, and it will be good for you if I'm wrong, but that's my personal recommendation. Kopila is asking, do you think about outer regional stream in next financial year? Kopila, it's very good stream. Definitely, they should bring it back, or they should try to bring it back somewhere. But if the federal department gives very little allocations to South Australia, then they might not have the same stream again. They might not have the outer regional stream. It was really good stream where a lot of people actually moved to regional South Australia, helped the regional businesses to grow, the economy to survive and thrive as well. So if they can bring it back, that's good. But it all depends on the total number of allocations. If they increase, then there is a good chance that they might bring something around that. If they keep it as the current financial year allocations, then it's very difficult for the Immigration South Australia to manage different programs as well, because there are a lot of applicants who are already meeting these requirements. So it's hard to offer someone without having a skilled job in their nominated occupation list. Pradeep is asking, India 10 plus 2 2021 pass out, 1 year diploma of community health worker, 1 year experience, salary cash to refusal to rest to rest visa, 407 visa. Pradeep, if I'm not correctly understanding your question, but then you're asking if you can apply for 407 visa or 482 visa. Unfortunately, no, because you don't have that qualification where you might get 407 visa straight away from offshore, particularly, or for 482 as well, because 482 you need to have at least 2 years of experience and employer who can sponsor you as well. So it's going to be difficult profile for you. I don't think so in current situation. We should be looking at Australia as a preferred destination. Explore your option, keep your options open, see if you can find something else. I'm a mechanical engineer with 85 points, 90 points for 80 points for 189, 85 points for 190, having a partner skills and proficient English. So I think you asked the same question earlier, but yeah, it can be good option, especially I've seen Victoria is prioritizing the applicants who are having skilled partner. So definitely a skilled partner is one of the plus point if you're based in Victoria, but having a skilled job is also very important as well. So as I said earlier, any skill migration, it's very crucial to have a job, because that will make your profile much stronger. Because at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind skill migration is all about filling those skill shortages in those areas where there is a labor market shortage. So as long as you have a job in those fields, then you are in much better position than someone who is coming from offshore or someone who is applying without a job. Mandeep is asking if what's happening with 191 or 190 visas, very slow grants. Mandeep, it's in general very slow grants, because obviously you might have seen a lot of news around the migration strategy and government's plan of action to reduce the migration and all those kind of things. So to show the better number, obviously the visa grant have slowed down drastically. So we have seen very slow visa grants even for the skill visas which we have launched last year or the last year. But eventually they will have to process it through either this financial year or early next financial year. So hang in there, you'll get an updates about your application shortly. Vishal is asking if New South Wales will have 190 invitation round happening soon as well. Vishal, there could be one more this financial year, but then regarding the dates when it's going to happen, we don't know yet, or I personally don't know yet, to be honest. But that's gonna will be one more round happening definitely for this financial year. It will be slow, small one, but yeah, it depends on your occupation. Sadiq is asking, does calling immigration for visa approval impact the application? Not really, Sadiq. So if you look at the number you're calling, actually, this is a generic information for everyone. So the number you guys call, it's not a department's direct number where you will be speaking to someone who actually makes the decision on the application. It's an outsourced company where they will be assisting with general inquiries in only. So it's not going to be impacting your application in general, or it's not going to fast track or anything. You'll be getting very standard answers that this is a current processing time, this is what you should be doing, and all those kind of things. But yeah, there's no negative impact if you want to call your call department's number regarding an application update or regarding anything in general. Um, Tanya, I've just answered your question, I guess, for 189 visas, if there will be any invitation round, which I doubt that they will be inviting the engineers in that particular invitation round. So you should just try to look for jobs and see if you can score or get the invitation for visa 190 or 491. Luciana is asking a very good question, which I normally get a lot from a lot of applicants. According to what I read in the law, we can claim the number of years we have worked post qualification, even though VETA says deduct 1 year. Is the payment documents, tax letter from employer enough to claim them, or do I have to present something else? So, Luciana, it all depends on how you interpret the legislation. So, according to me, or according to my interpretation, you can only claim the points if your qualification is meeting the ENSCO requirements. If your qualification is not meeting the ENSCO requirement, then you should follow what VETSS have given you the outcome on in terms of the dates from when you can claim the employment points. So in terms of the documents required, yes, you can provide reference letter, pay slips, tax documents, the payroll documents such as your superannuation, your ATO assessment, your bank statement, all those kind of documents. Mr. MD is asking if I've applied for 186 direct entry as a chef from Sydney. How long might take to get the 186 direct entry? Um, Mr. Ahmed, it all depends on the assessment in terms of the documentations what you have provided. But what I've seen from my personal experience is direct entry nominations are getting processed much faster than what they were earlier being processed. So you're looking at least in the next couple of months, you should have some updates regarding your application. There's another question coming from, okay, Amrit is asking if I'm waiting from one for 190 for 7 months. Amrit, if you look at the online, the average processing time, it keeps on changing. But in general, what I advise to most of my clients is average they take around 9 to 11 months. So you're still within that period of time. Obviously, some students or some applicants would have got earlier, but you cannot compare. Even though both your and your friend's applications are for same occupation, there could be something else they might want to check. There could be, a qualification document. There could be a character document. There could be a medical checkup they want to verify as well. So it is case to case in regards to the processing time. Sujan for Northern Territory student graduate on accounting. It's good option. You should definitely try to get a job. See if you can get a job and apply for your state nomination in month of July. Once the new financial year starts, then you have a good chance to get 190 or 491. If you have studied in Northern Territory for the whole accounting course, then you have a good chance to get 190 as well. Mr. Chaudhary, in regards to which state is good for offshore applicants for the PR, look, every state has their own migration programs, but what I've seen, the smaller states are always preferred state, such as Northern Territory, South Australia, Tasmania, and then WA. Bigger states such as Queensland, New South Wales, or Victoria, it's always a challenge because you have a lot of students to compete with, and you're not just competing with other students, but you're also competing with the people who are on a temporary graduate visas or other temporary work visas such as 482s or other visas. So the competition is quite high in those bigger states or bigger cities. So you should try to prefer something smaller, including Canberra as well, where you'll have better opportunities in terms of your graduate pathways for the state nominations as well. Please explain 482 and its condition after granted. So Sagar, 482 is a skill shortage visa. It's TSS, temporary skill shortages. So it's an employer-sponsored visa where you can get up to 4 years of visa. You have to work with the same employer after the visa is granted for next 2 to 4 years, depending on your duration of the visa. You cannot work with any other employer, and you cannot do any other job than the nominated occupation. So let's say if you are an accountant or a chef or an engineer, then you must do that task only. You cannot do anything else, even if it's the same company. So let's say if you are sponsored as an accountant, but they ask you to work as a office manager or as a receptionist, you cannot do that, obviously. So you need to work with the same nominated occupation for next 2 to 4 years, and then you can apply for your 186 depending on your situation. That's a permanent visa. How likely I'm getting invited for 190 or 491 as a graduate working as an accountant, being hopeless since last September as the visa expiry is 26. Imali, you have just explained yourself. Actually, you're not being invited simply because your visa is not expiring. Right now, South Australia is prioritizing the applicants whose visas are expiring in next couple of months, or who is turning 45. So if you are losing the age or your visa is expiring, then only you are considered as a priority. Otherwise, your application is on hold. And unfortunately, there are thousands and thousands of applications on hold, I guess, because their visas are not expiring. So the best thing you can do is keep working, do not lose hope, and then see how the new financial year program comes out. There will be always a competition, but then as long as you have a skilled job, then you are still in a better position than most of the applicants. So you just keep the job running, make sure there is no gap in between the jobs, and you do at least 30 plus hours a week, then you are in a strong position. Uh, Danya is asking, how many chances for 190 for offshore applicants? Don't think so, because most of the states are already finished with their allocations or about to reach. So they are prioritizing the applicant who are already in Australia, in their state, and also working in the nominated occupation. So chance of offshore applicant getting 190 is very low unless and until it's very high skilled occupation, such as sales and marketing manager with heaps and heaps of years of experience and very good profile. I had a invite for 190 for this kind of profiles from offshore as well. But in general, if it's other occupations, very low chances for 190. Jaya asking chances of onshore applicants for student visas. Onshore is still better than offshore, but obviously department is trying to cut down on total number of student visa holders in Australia, and also the people who are using the student visa as a tool to stay in Australia for a very long period of time. So people who might be applying from 485 to or 408 student visa, there are high chances that they might refuse them depending on overall situation. So what I'm saying is, depending on how long you've been in Australia and what kind of activities you have done, your visa approval will be depending on that. So it's not about where you originally from or where you proposing to study. The assessment levels may not impact your application, because even if you are from a low risk country and studying at low risk provider, but then if you've been here for 4 or 5 years and not progressing well in your studies, or have been on a 408 visa just simply working, then you might not fit the GST, the genuine student test, or GTE. So there is a high chance the department will refuse a visa. So overall situation will be very important for this upcoming changes, especially the GST changes. Uh, when can 189 round happen for this year? I know no one knows the exact date, but any guess? So most of we are already in March. So if they have to do another 189, then it will be no later than May. If nothing happens in May, then I don't see anything happening in June. Um, at the moment, department is very much occupied in a lot of policy changes with the government, obviously. So the ministry is occupied in a lot of changes, as they announced late last year. They want to change everything in skill migration, employer sponsored, number of visa types, student visas, and all those kind of things as well. So if anything happens, it will be in latest by month of May. If not May, then that's my personal recommendations. But then after that, there will be nothing. Sagar is asking, what is the difference between 482 and 407? Well, big difference, Sagar. 482 is an employer-sponsored visa, which is assessed on the basis of a genuine requirement of a business to employ you, which means, let's say, if you are a restaurant and you want to have a chef, then you need to prove that you need a genuine position as a chef. That's why you can sponsor the applicants under the 482 visa. So it's a temporary skill shortage visa, where business is proving that they have a skill shortages in the business, can sponsor an applicant who is an overseas citizen. Whereas 407 visa is a training visa. So there is no genuine requirement from the business, but then there is a genuine requirement of the applicant, that why they want to get trained in Australia, or why they want to get trained in that business at that particular level only. So they need to meet a different set of requirements, but the genuine requirement changes from the applicant to the as an applicant, as in the business to the applicant. So this is not a genuine requirement of a business for 407. This is a genuine requirement of you or me as a student or applicant, that I want to get trained in this particular role in this particular company. It got nothing to do with the company having a requirement of a skilled person or someone to work for them, because they cannot rely on this person. The reason being, the 407 is a training visa. So they need to prove that they already have someone who can actually train you in that particular role. So it's a different visa altogether. It's not connected to each other in terms of genuine requirements. They all fall under the short-term visas such as 407, 408, 482, 491, all those kind of things. Will there be any invitation for 491 or 190 this financial year? Now, this question is not specific for any particular state, but then yes, some states are still doing the ongoing invitations, but some states are already full for this financial year. So it all depends on where you're living and what occupation you are, but that could be something happening. Hemantha is asking how long Victorian government would take to approve the nomination invitation. Can you please let? So if you have already been invited as part of your ROI process, then it might be around 4 to 6 weeks. But if you have not been invited, then you need to wait for the next invitation round to happen. Pradeep is asking, chef with 85 points and ICT security specialist with 90 points, any chance of 189 or any other occupations? Pradeep, it depends where you are currently working as a chef or ICT security specialist. As far as 189 is concerned, as I've covered earlier, I don't personally see a lot of 189 invitations to these occupations. So you might have to have plan B, which is 190 or 491. So there could be 191 options for you if you are working in the nominated occupation in certain states. So depending on where you're living, you can create your plans to make sure that you get a state nomination either for 190 or 491 before your current visa expires. Did my bachelor's in 2015, MBA in 2019, 8 years of work experience in business development. You think I can get a student visa with the study gap also? I'm currently holding a student business visa 600. Can I apply and convert for a student visa from Australia? So Mr. KH, you have a gap in your qualification, and you already have a master's degree. So I'm not sure what you're going to propose to study in Australia. So if you're proposing another master's, then you need to demonstrate that this master's will create a significant value. Such as if you're going to do a master's in business analytics, which is data oriented, then it can create a value in your career. Applying from a 600 business visa to a student visa, it's going to be a risky where you've actually applied for a 600 business stream to prove that you're coming to Australia for some kind of business activity. And now all of a sudden your plans are changed and you're applying for a student visa. I've seen in last couple of weeks, department have started refusing the applicants who applied from a visitor to a student visa. So there will be high number of refusals in the future as well. So if you really want to study and you meet all the requirements, then you should apply for your student visa while you are offshore. So the right assessment can happen. So that's what department wants to push through as well, that the applicant who wants to study in Australia, they should be applying for a student visa rather than visitor to student. And they should be applying for a student visa in their home country. So the right department's office will process that application. So just to make sure that they get the right process done. Electrical engineer 75 points in Victoria for 491 is enough, or guide me what to do. No, working nominated occupation. Unless and until you are in regional Victoria, your chances are very low. So you should try to get a job. Or if you're having a partner, then try to get a partner who, so partner's English or the skill assessment to increase your chances. But without a job, your chances are lower because obviously you'll be competing with a lot of other applicants in the similar occupation group. The question is about the 407 visa again. What is the total processing time after lodging for 407 nomination and visa for health occupation? It really depends on when did you lodge it, but in general, the department's processing times are available on their website. 407 is going to be under heavy assessments as well, because a lot of people who might not be eligible to apply for a student visa or other visas might be looking at the 407 visa options. So there could be a detailed assessment, and that can result in the delayed processing times for 407. So you'll be looking at between 3 to 6 months in general. Rafti is asking how much do I have chance for accountant, 400 points, 4 years experience. Depending on which state you are based in, but there could be an option in New South Wales, I guess. New South Wales had invited some accountants in the past at 105 points, people with longer experience and all. So there could be a chance depending on total points and your profile. If you're based in Victoria or anywhere else, Victoria might invite you if you have a skilled partner as well, depending on your annual income. Uh, Another question is currently in TR visa, which course will be better to study, either nursing or cookery, as I'm working as a cook right now. Um, it all depends on your English level as well, because what I've seen is a lot of students, they do cookery because they're already working in the field, but then there's a lot of competition as well. If you can do nursing, it's a very good area to focus on as well. As long as your English is good, 7 each minimum, then you should try to opt in for Bachelor of Nursing. That can get you a registration as an RN, very good career pathway, very good visa pathways as well. Compared to chef or cook, RN would be a better option. Amila, about as a graduate working in South Australia as an enrolled nurse, you need to have at least 6 months of experience, 30 hours a week. And if you are having that 6 months of experience, 30 hours a week, and your visa is expiring soon, then there is a chance you might get invitation. So it all depends on your overall profile. Get in touch with us here in Adelaide itself. If you need any assistance, we can assess your profile and then see what the best outcome for you. Hemanta Bikram is asking how long the Victorian government would take. I already answered that question. Nayan is asking, I'm having 95 points from June, but didn't receive an invitation from Victoria. People said because of my salary. Um, Yep. So, Nayan, answering your question, as I said earlier, Victoria is very different in the way they are. They've assessed and invited some people with the skill partner, even if the overall points were lower for certain occupations. So you should definitely try to get your partner's English or skill assessment done, and try to get a higher paid job, because salary is one of the definitely considered as a factor for the Victorian state nomination. So salary, your skill partner is one of those factors where your priority will be different than the other applicants. Um, for 482 visa, how many months is the processing time for personal care assistant worker? Um, Sumit Prakash Lal. So if you're talking about the 482 Dharma, then it's very quick, maybe under a month, as long as you meet all the requirements. Because personal care assistant worker or personal care worker is only available through 482 Dharma process. So you need to have an employer who can sponsor you under the Dharma agreement. These occupations are available very limited around Australia, as in only in certain regions. These occupations are in the Dharma list. So you can exercise that option if you have an employer based in that particular region, including South Australia, actually. Chances of applying for visitor to student visa for onshore applicants. Look, as I said earlier, department is coming very hard on this kind of applicants who are not using the correct program for correct purpose. So there will be high amount of refusals from the applicants who are applying from visitor to student. So that could be various reasons depending on the profiles. the course they want to study, the country of origin, as in where they're coming from, and all those kind of factors. Sanjeev is asking about 1023 form and what after submitting. Unfortunately, I cannot answer that question unless you actually describe the question in detail. Alison is asking, any way for diploma of nursing to get a TR or a graduate visa? No, Alison, it's not possible because diploma of nursing lead to an occupation which is an enrolled nurse. An enrolled nurse is in the short-term list. Any occupation any occupation in the short-term list are not eligible for the graduate visa. To apply for the graduate visa using your qualifications such as diplomas or certificates, your occupation where you can get a provisional skill assessment in must be in the long-term list. So that's why diploma of nursing cannot get you a 485 visa. Mashaf at 70 points for 190, 80 points for 491 in chance of invitation. Visa expires. So Ravinder, if you're based in South Australia, then yes, you might get an invitation for 491 in next financial year, not this financial year. So any time after June, July next, like this year. I have Sanjen is asking, I have 2.7 years of experience as a personal care worker. Am I eligible for 186 under Aged Care Labor Agreement? Do I have to complete 3 years? Sanjan, yes, you can apply for 186 ENS direct entry if you have an employer under the industry specific agreement, which is the Aged Care Industry Agreement. And if they can sponsor you, excuse me, if they can sponsor you directly for 186, then you can apply for 186 with 2 years of experience. If the employer is not willing to do it, then obviously you have to go on the 482 first, work with the same employer for 2 years, and then you can apply for the 186. Dipanshu is asking, I'm a mechanical engineer working in my field, but a lower salary. I have 90 points. What are my chances? I'm based in Melbourne, been working here for last 6 months. Dipanshu, chances are there, but then as you mentioned, you have lower salary. I'm not sure if you're married or not, but then if you have a skilled partner, then your chances would be better. If you want to increase your chances, then the best thing you can do is obviously look for a different job, which is higher paid job in your nominated occupation to increase your chances. These requirements can be changed again in July, depending on the allocations they receive in month of July from the federal department. Sorry, but until that, I think the best thing you can do is try to increase, strengthen up your profile. I did my master's in accounting and did my diploma of nursing. It's been 3 months already as a EN. It's been 4 years. I'm in Adelaide. No, unfortunately, you're not eligible for 190 straight away. You need 6 months of experience, and that the way South Australia is assessing the applicants, it's not in your control if you want to apply for 190 or 491. They are the one who actually deciding if the application will be endorsed for 190 or 491. In general, what I've seen is skill level 2 occupations are normally get primarily 491 in the current climate. I've seen personally, I haven't seen any single 190 invitation in the new financial year. Reason being, they use large chunk of 190 to the pending applications from last financial year. And I haven't seen any single invitation for 190 from South Australia so far in our group, as in Adelaide office or Moss Lake office here in South Australia. For 190, which is very strange because according to department's data, they have invited certain people. So it could be the applicants who would have applied last financial year. But then, yeah, if you want to increase your 190 chances, then wait for next financial year and see if there will be more clear guidelines for 190 and 491. Currently, there is no differentiate between 190 491 guidelines. All they need is 6 months of experience, at least 30 hours a week, and then it's a discretion of immigration essay assessment officer to give you nomination for either 491 or 190. Um, I missed the question somewhere. Um, yeah, so Philip is asking 485 extension, is it going to cancel from July 2024 or before that? Most likely, Philip, it will be from June 2024. The change is coming through. So that will be for the eligible course extensions and all. They're reducing the 485s. And unfortunately, a lot of students will be impacted. The people who already have the graduate visa, they will have the full duration currently available. But if you apply after that, then obviously you'll be meeting the new requirements. So there's question about civil engineering minimum points offshore. Roshana, at the moment, civil engineering offshore, your chances are very low to get invitation in this financial year. Depending on the next financial year program, which is from July, you can expect an invite maybe for 491 or 190, probably primarily for 491. The points would be for offshore applicants, you'll be looking at least 90 points or higher or 85 plus. Thank you, William, about your compliment. I'm glad we are part of your process. Ravinda is asking, hello, Tejas, hello, sir. I'm chef in Adelaide outer regional with 70 points, 80 points. Ravinda, there is no difference between Adelaide and outer regional in current settings, current requirements. So even if you're working in regional with regional South Australia or you're working in Adelaide, the chance of getting 49 are pretty much similar. They're only assessing your application if your visa is expiring in next couple of months. So if your visa is expiring in the month of April or May, then you might have some chances to get the invitation. Um, Ashwin is asking about the 482s. If when should we do the LMTs? If I start 482 visa process today, when can I apply? So Ashwin, 482s require 28 days of LMT, labor market testing. So if the applicant, as in your business, the sponsor starts the process today about the LMT, you can apply for your nomination after your LMT is finished. So after 28 days, once the nomination is lodged, then you can apply for your visa as well. If you need any assistance regarding the 482 process, get in touch with one of our offices close to you. We'll be happy to help you out. My 407 is it for occupational training required for registration, retail pharmacist? Will it be quicker? Yes, absolutely. If it's for pharmacy area or if it's for health occupation like registered pharmacist or physiotherapist or similar, then the process will be quicker and there's more chance to get it granted. I'm on a 482 visa. Harpreet is asking, as a motor mechanic working on a 56,000 package on an old threshold, now going to apply for 186. When should I start the 70K, after 186 grant or after the nomination? So Harpreet, your new nomination should be at 70 plus super as the new discipline requirements. So you should, if you're applying for a new nomination, then yeah, you should try to make sure that you match the industry standards, as in the market salary, and meet the new discipline requirements. Um, Critica is asking what are chances about 190 for analyst programmer, 90 points in high skill stream. Um, Critica, to be honest, if you talk about South Australia in general, they haven't assessed or they haven't invited anyone under the high stream or even 190 that I came across personally. So chances are low unless and until you are like an excellent profile working for defense as an analyst programmer, have 90 points, have 8 each in IELTS or PT, all those kind of thing. So it is subjective to your profile. Virendra is asking about the five subsequent entrant visa for the student visa. Virendra, as of now, to be honest, they are assessing the primary applicants, and there are a lot of things going behind the scene within the department. So if you're applying from South Asia in general, then chances of your wife getting the 4.8, the student dependent visa is very low, because they are even refusing the primary visa applications as well in some cases. And I'll be honest, it's not just from certain regions; it is in general from a lot of countries. So um, if the chance of getting the outcome is within 3 to 6 months. Um, Utsav is asking what is 482 visa category. So 482 is an employer-sponsored visa, TSS, temporary skill shortage. It's a visa which is sponsored by the employer if they have a genuine full-time role in the company, and the occupation is on the available occupation list. I have a skill assessment in a community work. I'm currently working as a well-being manager in aged care. Is it considered to be closely related occupation for South Australia? Um, but unfortunately, no, because community requirements are different than the aged care requirements. Um, Having said that, it depends on the requirements you would be applying for. As in, let's say similar profile, if you would have applied last financial year, then chances of you getting the state nominations were higher. But this financial year, the requirements are very clear. You're working as a lifestyle coordinator or lifestyle assistant or lifestyle area in the aged care, which is different than the community worker. The major group or the sub major groups are same, so there's still a chance. So as long as they follow the first two digits, then yes, lifestyle coordinator can probably meet the requirement of the community worker as well. But I would suggest you to come and meet me in office if you are based in South Australia, and we can discuss your profile one-on-one. Any IT professions will have 189 chances. The short answer is no. That's my understanding or my belief, because they will be primarily focused on health and teaching. For 189s, the other occupations are being managed by the state under the 190 and the 491 visa programs. Is there any places left for 190 for South Australia? I don't think so. They still have some, but then I haven't come across any invitations recently. So I really don't know what's happening behind the scene. There's a lot of going on behind the scene, or there's more to the story. Sabit, how about receiving an invitation for a professional electrical engineer or lodge ROI through Aussizz Adelaide? Sadid, as I mentioned earlier, as long as your visa is expiring in next couple of months, then yes, you have good chances to get invitation, as long as you have 6 months of experience. So primarily, you need to have 6 months of experience, and your visa must be expiring in current situation, as in next few months. Then only your chances are there to get the invitation. I've completed chemical engineering from India, currently doing masters in project management. What is the good way to apply for a permanent residency? Um, Rupen, you'll have two options. Number one is using your bachelor qualification, try to get a job in chemical engineering that can lead you towards a permanent residency. Or number two option is finish your masters in project management and then um, get a get a job as a project administrator or project manager, and on that grounds you can apply for your skill assessment and then apply for your state nomination. So you have good chances. You'll have two options. One is through engineering, second one is through the masters. Is there any restriction to apply for student visa for current 408 visa holders from 23rd of March? Tanusha, no, there is no restrictions, but what they said is they will be very going very hard on to the applicants who would be applying for 485 to student visa or 408 to the student visa. So it depends how long you've been in Australia, what kind of studies you have completed in Australia, um, what kind of course you're proposing as well. All those factors will be there. They will be considering those situation, and then your decision of granting or refusing visa will happen. I'm on 4H2 visa. I've been working for almost 1 year, same employer. Um, did I need 70K to apply for a pathway? So the new applicants will need to meet the new requirements. If you are granted the 482 in the older requirements, you just needed to meet that time requirements. But when you apply for 186, then you might have to meet the new discipline requirements here. Okay, in the 485 graduate stream extended, graduated in electrical engineering bachelor degree. Graduate stream, you cannot extend it, but you can apply for the extension if you have applied under the post-study work stream. Skill assessment as a registered nurse, NEC, and HCare with 80 points, any chances to get the 190 or 189. But yes, 189, you have a good chance to get the invitation at this point for registered nurses. For 190 and 491, again, depending on where you are located, as in state, you have to meet the state nomination requirements. So South Australia, you need to have 6 months of experience, even for 190 nowadays. With 491 visa as a provided where all one can move apart from South Australia. So Mr. Singh, 491 was granted to you as part of the state nomination. So you have given a commitment to the state that you will be staying here in South Australia for next 3 years. It's a regional sponsored visa, which allows you to stay and work anywhere in Australia as long as it's classified as a regional area. But again, you have, as part of your state nomination application, you have given a commitment to the state that you will be staying and working in South Australia for next 3 years. So department has a discretion power if they want to contact you, if they want to take any actions against you. These are always there. And Prashula is asking, do you do for overseas work? I'm not sure what kind of question was that, but then if you're talking about employer-sponsored or skill migration, then yes, we can assist offshore applicant if they are meeting the requirements. We are only processing the visas. So let's say if they want to do a skill migration, then they need to have certain points, certain skill assessments, certain English level if they want to apply. If they want to apply for employer-sponsored visa, they need to find a job, get an employer who can sponsor them, and then we can assist them with the process. Can a 37 years old apply for a student visa? What diploma? IT permanent visa. I guess it all depends on the purpose of a student visa and the course. There are two concerns here: diploma and higher age. So I'm not saying 37 years of age you cannot study, but then it depends on your overall situation and circumstances why you want to upskill yourself, or if you're just using a student visa to stay in Australia, or this is a first visa you're applying for. So there are different factors, but then yes, you can get it granted or you can get it refused depending on how long you've been in Australia for and all those things as well. Can I get a PR if I get sponsored by a takeaway food shop in Sydney? No, takeaway shops cannot sponsor for the 482s. They're under the excluded location for the 482 visas. I'm above 45 years of age in far north Queensland. Now as an RN, am I in the right place for DAMA? Yes, Chris, absolutely. Far North Queensland has a DAMA program, apparently, and it has an RN in the list as well. You can also explore South Australia as well. So South Australia also has a DAMA program where you can get an employer to sponsor you. Currently, we have an employer in regional South Australia who is actively looking for RNs. So if you want to get that opportunity, get in touch with our team. We'll probably be happy to help you out with the process. They are desperately in requirement of an RN who can start working with them as soon as possible. Can one apply a partner visa by registering relationship here under civil partnership agreement? Is it equivalent to marriage? So you need to you need to register your relationship with the local state governments. As long as you have a registration of relationship, then you can use that to apply for your partner visa. Obviously, you need to meet the other requirements such as the genuine relationship requirement. You provide relationship documents as well. But as long as you cover those angles, then yes, you can apply for your partner visa. I am a student Kaplan doing hospitality. I'm in the last trimester. Want to change my college into Torrance. Do you accept me to do? Do uni accept me? Do I get some credits? Shubham, I don't know why you would like to change if you're already in the last semester, because in general, if you change a provider, then they probably give you only 50% of credits from the past units. So it's the best interest to finish your course, which you're currently enrolled in, and then apply for your graduate visa and look for different permanent visa options if you're planning to apply for your permanent visa. If any reason change itself, then yes, it depends on your past subjects and the new course. What they will do is they will map your subjects, and then as long as you meet the new course requirements and mapping is done, then the course coordinator will grant you the credits. It may not be all the credits; it can be up to 50% in general. My friend is doing masters in global public health and currently working as an NDIS or disability um, plan manager. Is there any chance for him to lodge file for permanent residency? Um, NDIS or disability plan manager, it would fall under a skill level two, equivalent to maybe a welfare worker, community worker, or similar. So you'll have to have a similar qualifications as well. Global public health or similar may not have major subjects regarding to community services or health. It's more into management or public health. So it depends on the subjects. We have to see if you will be meeting the ACWA requirements, Australian Community Worker Association requirements. But if you can meet the subject requirements, then yes, you can lead. This job can lead you towards a skill assessment in an occupation, which might be able to get you the state nomination. So you should get an advice on the subjects you're doing as well. That can help you. Shane is asking currently on 4-8 visa expired on September. Um, as a second option after 482, planning to apply for MBA. Do I need to get it ready with the show money requirements as an onshore applicant? So Ashin, yes, if you're talking about a student visa financial requirements, then depending on where you're going to study this course, you will be required to demonstrate that you have enough funds to support your studies, including your secondary applicants if you have any partner. That includes your fees and your living expenses. Is another question. Currently working, so I've covered that. I'm working as a cost analysis for a big company. Can they sponsor? Um, so Sahil, it's not about what kind of job you might be doing. There are more factors involved in the employer-sponsored visa, such as how big is the company, what is your occupation, what kind of qualification you have, how long you have been working in the field. Because in general, the 482 visa requires you to have at least 2 years of experience to apply for the nomination, and then you can apply for the visa. Hello, I've studied in Australia and have diploma in childcare, have more than 10 years experience, but now I am back in Mauritius. I would love to know if you can help me out. So Nidhi, if you have 10 years of experience as a childcare center manager, then you can probably get a skill assessment and you can apply for your skill visa. That can lead you towards either 190 or 491, depending on the occupation. But other than that, you can also approach different childcare companies. They are also willing to sponsor a lot of people. So childcare related occupations are in the DAMA list for employer sponsored visas in regional WA and regional South Australia as well. And certain companies also have industry specific or company specific labor agreements. So they might be able to sponsor through that as well. So if you approach them for the jobs, they might be able to help you out, and we can assist you with the visa process. I've applied for 485 dependent visa since October 2023, but no update. Yes, 485 subsequent entrant, it should be fine. You will get it soon. In general, they were granting it within 4 to 6 months, so you're approaching to that particular deadline. So you should hear from the department shortly about this 485 subsequent. Sheikh is asking, any chance of retail or hospital pharmacist with zero experience have 70 points? Um, Pharmacist, yes, you have some chances, but then if you want to increase your chances, then try to get a job. Then you'll have good chances for Victoria. South Australia, no chances without a job. Um, but South Australia, Victoria, you might have some chances if you can get a job. Without job as well, they might invite you, because it depends on your location as well, because of your occupation. I've submitted the UI for Victoria Mechanical at 85 plus 5. Working in on field for 2 years, 90 each PT. Skilled partner with unskilled partner with 5 points for English. Waiting since August 2022. Yes, it can be a case to case depending on your salary, number one, and location. So these are the two factors which might be stopping you to get the 190 from Victoria. Thank you, Ashin. It's really good to see it was helpful to you about the employer-sponsored visa. But if you have any questions, then yeah, get in touch with our team in Adelaide or anywhere close to you. If you're based interstate, we'll be happy to help you out with the process. Uh, Last question I'll be answering. We are almost to the point where we are ending this session. Is 500 student subsequent entrant visa requirements for offshore partner. So Dharmic, in general, the subsequent entrant also required to meet the similar requirement as the primary applicant. So they need to meet the GTE or the new GST requirements. They will also need to demonstrate that they have funds. But more than that, what department is also looking at is the profile of the partner. If the partner has equivalent or higher qualification, then there is higher chances of getting the visa granted. Or the partner has been working in a good employment area, then there is a high chance of getting the visa granted. So it is subjective to the partner's profile. But I've seen high refusal simply because the qualification matches are not there. So the partner who is in Australia is doing masters, but then the partner who is applying for the visa offshore, he or she does not even have a bachelor degree. So then there is high chances of visa refusal in those areas. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us in the session today. We hope this was really helpful to you. If you have any questions regarding your particular profile, I encourage everyone to either get in touch with one of our offices close to you. We have our offices around Australia, obviously. So you can book an appointment with one of our migration agents close to you. We have a team of more than 50 migration agents around Australia who can help you out with the skilled migration, employer-sponsored, partner visa, and also the family-sponsored visas such as the 491 relative-sponsored or parents' visa or similarly. If you have any questions regarding employer-sponsored as well, you're free to get in touch with us. We can assist you with the DAMA process as well. If you have an employer who are willing to sponsor you under the 482 DAMA or 494 DAMA, get in touch. And if any other questions, you're more than welcome to book an appointment one-on-one as well. But thank you very much, guys. Happy Friday. And our team will keep on answering the questions. If you have more questions, keep on posting the questions as well. But other than that, thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.